All right, all right, all right. Let's get going here. Let's go. Where is it? There's a button here somewhere. This one, right? That's the one. Get us started. Hey there, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be in your part of the world. Really? We're going to do this today? Is that what we're going to be up to? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, fun. Oh, I love it when things on the stream deck just don't want to behave the way that I expect them to. Right?
Greetings, my excellent friend.
There we go. Good morning, friends. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today is April 1st, 2025. And we're going to write a little bit of code today. We're going to dive back in and work on SharpSite today. Let me say hello to the chat rooms. They're right over there. We're broadcasting live on Twitch and YouTube. Let me say hello. C Sharp Titan is here. First thing, a good evening to you in Melbourne. Running the hat command and identifying our new hat here. More on that in a little bit. How you doing there, Reg9K Napalm Codes? Hello, happy Tuesday to you. And Surly Dev. How's it going there? UNESCO is here. The Way. How's it going? Hey, hey, hey. Yeah, big fail trombone. Yeah, that felt bad. You know, April Fool's Day, I'm coding in Java. No, not coding in Java. No, I wouldn't do that to myself. So much going on, and let me get in fact, I can't even stream a full stream today. I need to stop about an hour early from when I normally end because I've got meetings already stacking up, but the rest of the week we're pretty clear. We should be good. So coffee in a new travel mug, it's a good thing. Let me see here. Yeah, no, Java channel change? No. Hey, Weird Beard Dev, happy Tuesday to you. Let me get some music playing in the background. We'll chat a little bit here, and then we'll dive in on SharpSite and get caught up. Let's start here. This is called Better Best. Should be up here right there. It appears right here. Come on. Maybe. The Spotify overlay, where are you? There it is. Oh my goodness. Of course, this is Stream Beats by Harris Heller. This is music that's DMCA free, royalty free. Listen to it wherever you like, YouTube, Twitch, doesn't matter. It's free for you to use. Big thanks to Harris Heller and his team of creators for this music we're listening to today. Yes, meetings, the bane of all developers. I've got about between SharpSite, Tags app, Charlie, I've got about 6 coding projects that I'm working on. Plus, I'm putting together an AI workshop. And Blazor content. And yeah, and we're going to be getting ready for build here. So there's a lot going on, and it's at the same time exciting. Oh, and I've got Aspire workshops that I'm updating as well, because next week is when we're anticipating the release of .NET Aspire 9.2. You've probably seen our friend James Newton King posting updates about what's going to be coming in the dashboard. Let me see if I can get his Blue Sky messages up here on screen. We can talk about that a little bit here. No. James Newton King. There we go. Yeah. So the .NET Aspire dashboard, of course, you've seen it. It works. Yes, it's written in .NET, but it works with any technology that wants to publish OpenTelemetry endpoints. So There's some really cool stuff that's coming as part of it. Yeah, SharpSite tags app, Charlie. There's lots more coming. Robert Tables, good to see you. Yes, don't believe anything on the internet today. That's right. Cranberry Wine, how you doing there? The project shenanigans are strong, no doubt. Here, let me head over. We can talk about some of these features that are coming in the .NET Aspire dashboard, because these are really cool. And seriously, these are things that if you're not a .NET developer, that's okay. You get this also. Your favorite technology works and will load in and work with this also. There are now filters to search, help you search through the structured logs a little bit better. Cool. All right, that's cool. Resource icons have been added so that it's a little bit easier to pick out what the different things are. Neat. Okay. Scroll bar backgrounds are now transparent over here. Okay, sure, that's a little nice to have. You can now customize the display names and even reroute URLs on the dashboard. Cool. The one that I don't see here, that David Fowler has been particularly vocal about, you're going to be able to get the dashboard as a CLI. Yeah. Where is it? There's the 9.2. Nope. There is a resource graph coming. I don't see it. Yeah, here it comes. Right here. There you go. You're going to be able to see a graph of how all the resources in your system are related to each other based on the configuration that you've loaded in your app host. That's really cool. That's something that I don't think anybody else has. And I think we're really, really going to like seeing that. Hey there, PowerShell Freak. With a question here, I have an Azure Static Web App with Hugo. Let me back up. And added intra-ID authentication at the root level via routes. Can I configure multiple routes and bind them to intra-ID groups, like an RBAC system? I think that's kind of, yeah, that's kind of the point. Yeah. No, I think you absolutely can do that. Set up the policies appropriately out there. I haven't done it. I haven't gone that deep on intra-ID authentication. With the static website features, I've always pushed the resolution of authorization capabilities into my functions and not used it at the directory level there. But there are ways that you can do that. I haven't gone deep on that. Anthony Simon talked about generating architecture diagrams, and a bit of his ideas what drove what's in here now. So, can you start and stop Docker containers in Aspire? Yes. Start, stop, and restart. You can do all of that from inside of .NET Aspire, from the dashboard. So, you don't have to be doing anything with .NET. And you can control and restart and run your entire system from the dashboard. Folks have asked if you can secure the dashboard. Oh, yes, you can do that too. There are environment variables that you can pass in to configure the authentication and authorization policies. The way asking, what are my thoughts on using VS Code for back-end development? Their team used Visual Studio, and we're kind of struggling with adapting to Visual Studio Code. What are you struggling with? Let's start there. What are you struggling with? Because Visual Studio Code, if you have a Visual Studio license, you have a full license to be able to use the C# dev kit in VS Code. So that should get you up to speed and the same type of IntelliSense and solution management that you're used to in Visual Studio. So what are the challenges you're having? Let's talk about that. Because with the addition of DevKit for service development, for microservice development, website development, you should have a very, very similar experience between the two tools. So let's talk about that a little bit. Hey, Torvik, can I tell you if WPF core applications with .NET Core libraries will work with any versions of Windows starting from 7 and up to 11? I know it works with 10 and 11. I haven't tried. I don't have the resources, the installed operating systems for 7, 8, and 8.1, but I know it works for 10 and 11. I would have to do some digging on the support sites to find out if it works for 7, 8, and 8.1. My suspicion would be that it would work. No. Wait. I'm thinking. Hang on. I'm thinking Maui. WPF. Yeah, I bet it works on 7, 8, and 8.1. No guarantee, but I am positive on 10 and 11. Keyboard shortcuts, file class creation. There are ways to bring over the. I thought there was a way to bring over use Visual Studio shortcuts in Visual Studio Code. No. Migrate Visual Studio keyboard shortcuts to Visual Studio Code. You can export the keyboard shortcut settings from Visual Studio and then re-import them to Visual Studio Code. Never tried it. I don't know if that's a thing. There's got to be a way to do it. But definitely the Control-Shift-P shortcut and typing in what you want, that's one of those ones that is going to take you a little bit to get used to. So, Visual Studio Code has a much smaller footprint. It's a bit faster at doing some code operations because you don't have all of the extensions loaded into full Visual Studio. The extensions ecosystem in VS Code is much more extensive, in part because it is significantly easier to write extensions for Visual Studio Code. So there's all kinds of things in there that folks are trying out and leaning into and building. But as you add more and more extensions, you end up slowing down Visual Studio Code so that the performance then is in line with Visual Studio. So, hey, Paulus, hello. Yeah, great to see you last week. Client works on Mac, so they've been using VS Code for a while. There you go. Yes, you can bloat the crap out of your Visual Studio Code if you add everything. Oh, you're very welcome, Torvik. Helped you get a job and you're starting next Monday. That's phenomenal. We got to celebrate that. Yes. Oh, my goodness. Entire teams don't need to use the same IDE. Correct, Etram. And in fact, we see that at many enterprises where not only do folks not use the same IDE, right, but different tools, different technologies, and they integrate on REST service borders. They integrate on queues. They integrate on different things, and they use the tools that are appropriate for whatever it is they're working on. There is no one programming language that's perfect for everything. There's a couple of general purpose programming languages that are really, really good at a lot of things, but at some point you're going to want to step up and optimize appropriately for different things, right? JavaScript is really good for building and writing content on and in the browser. Server side, multi-threading kicks in and it fails over. It fails. You multi-threading in JavaScript isn't a thing. So there's ways around that, but it's easier to set up a server that is multi-threaded capable and can do more of those things, and then integrate the same front end with it. You see this with folks integrating and rewriting things, optimizing for more lower level technologies. So VS Code profiles help with extension overload. A little bit, yeah. IDEs are a very personalized preference. Oh, definitely. Yeah. How we customize them, how we make them look. You want to optimize it for the way that you work. You're trying to push back and keep Visual Studio. That's cool. Nothing wrong with either. It would be fantastic if dev containers would install extensions temporarily and clean them when I close the project. Well, they do. Like, yeah, that's, or am I thinking code spaces? I think I'm thinking code spaces. C# is perfect. Don't diss your favorite language. Nah, it's got its shortcomings at times. It does. It's a fantastic language. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm putting 2 kids through college. I've bought a house and several cars off of how I've profited from C#. No doubt. It is a tremendous language that I appreciate. I really enjoy. Heck, I took my screen name after the programming language. But there are places where there are other languages that are better than C#. There are places. There are other things that C# does that those other places can't compete with. So there are no true solutions. Yep, it's a choice of trade-offs. Where and what do you want in your solution, in the problem you're trying to solve, and how you choose to solve that is going to determine what tools you use, how you use those tools, so on and so forth. Is it a good idea to use C# as a language for software, which purpose is to get data from industrial equipment and sometimes send commands there? I've seen folks do that, yes. So it sounds like you're going to have some sort of a server setup that's talking to and keeping connections open to equipment, receiving and sending messages back and forth, and then raising some sort of indicator on a user interface, whether that's on a mobile device that's getting messages from that server, it's on a website, it's on a native application, and being able to send messages back and forth there. Very doable. You're using some sort of network protocol. C# is very adept at using and transmitting messages with that. Totally. That absolutely does work. And folks have been very successful with it. There is I can't talk about customers, but there are folks that do that. In some very high profile real-time scenarios. I can't say anything more about it, but there are folks who do that a lot. C Sharp Titans asks, is C Sharp used heavily in Microsoft in gaming, or is it C++? It's mostly C++ that you see from game studios. Are what a lot of folks in gaming do use C Sharp for is to build the development tools that are appropriate for their game engines to be able to package and deliver the resources and make that final compilation of the game so that it's packaged and delivered on media as a download to build the downloaders that you have running on your systems, whether it's the Battle.net downloader, the Epic Games downloader, Steam. A lot of these are built with .NET because they're real easy to put together. It's easy to set them up and connect and facilitate downloads. It works really nicely for those auxiliary tools. There are a lot of folks that use the Unity engine to build games and publish and sell those. Absolutely. Right? The Pokemon Go, Hearthstone, these are built with Unity, and they're very, very successful. The Magic the Gathering Arena, built with Unity, very, very successful. And there's lots more out there that are built with C Sharp. So you see games springing up now built with Godot. Yeah, it's stuff that folks can be successful with, and it's your choice. The tools are built. Use the ones that make you happy. If I could wink push to the C Sharp team to allow easier access to the C++ side of C Sharp from within C Sharp, well, that's what the unsafe keywords are for. That's what they're for. Yeah. You're welcome. Hey, Mitch. Orleans for game backends. You're right. And Mitch making a very good point. Orleans does a fantastic job transmitting information back and forth between various services, various clients. The ability to pass those grains of information around is phenomenal for folks that are building larger systems. So about half the mobile market is C Sharp Unity. I don't have validation of that, but I would believe it. So, did I see? Hey, Apricot is here. Greetings to you in Ukraine. I hope you're staying safe. All right. So, let's dig back into the CMS that we've been building here on stream, called SharpSite. And we've been trying to build this in a way that has a rich plugin model. We're using .NET Aspire to help coordinate things. And we're working on, my gosh, it's been 2-3 weeks since we've worked on this. We're working on, this is milestone 0.7, to help with installation, startup, setup, the out-of-the-box experience. What does that look like when we first pull down the tool and we go to start things up? The goal here is to use a little bit of Blazor server-side rendering for most of the pages that are public-facing, and we'll use server-side interactive for those administrative pages that folks are going to want to get into and interact with to do, user management, create new posts, add new pages, so on and so forth. And we're going to grow and learn the different features that we need here. We've had requests to be able to generate and build with a headless CMS. Maybe that's a thing we entertain in the future. But right now we're trying to stick with a little bit of the WordPress model where there's an admin area that's available right next to the published running version of the website. And the site runs nicely in a container. We've got build scripts and everything that build and deliver in containers. And this has been a great way for us to explore and check out .NET Aspire features, Blazor features, and also dig deeper and learn as we built our plugin system to allow interactions with uploading custom features into this. Eddie Dre with a comment here. Team just got reorged to be an AI team focusing on building LLM and such. Boss wants Eddie to use Python so I can help with other Python development. I'm not exactly a fan, but the other dev hates .NET. It's going to be interesting. I really don't see why it matters what I write in as long as my services achieve what the feature is asking. I agree that it doesn't matter what you write in so long as it delivers. However, we just went to ads. What's important is that other developers, particularly when you work in an enterprise, what's important is that other developers that are employed there are able to pick up and use what you delivered. Not just use, but maintain. That's a big deal. That's always a big deal when we talk about enterprise development, is there's something to be said about you're at some point you need to be replaceable. Whether it's you're out sick, you're taking vacation, somebody else needs to be able to pick up and maintain your code. And that's why individual teams need to be able to work and speak with the same programming language, typically. So, sea snakes is a thing that's coming along. It's very much, I don't want to say a prototype, but a proof of concept. It's not something that's production supported, and I wouldn't recommend organizations building mission critical software on it yet. So, 40 seconds left in the ads. Let's take a look over here at where we are in GitHub. This is milestone 0.7. And we're talking about the installation and startup experience. There's a bug that was open here by DGen1 about an issue with the out-of-the-box experience. But I'm up here working on the out-of-the-box startup experience. You can set a name for the site. You can set a logo for the site. Database config. The database isn't plug-inable yet, so I don't want to do that just yet. Themes, we're not there yet. But setting a fav icon and creating the first user, I think we were down on creating the first user is where I was working. The bug that was logged here by DGen1. Yeah, good luck to you, Eddie. That's a big reorg change like that is difficult. So DGen1 says, I want to try the out-of-the-box experience, so I renamed the plugins folder to start fresh. But after entering a name for the site and pressing next, in step 2, got this error. Can I provide a value for file storage? On type step 2, there's no registered service. Right, the plugin isn't installed because you don't have the plugins folder. Okay, I think I know where this is. So, yeah, let's address this to start with here, because this feels like something that we can test and move forward on. SharpSite is free to use. It is completely open source. Everything's available on GitHub. Head on over to sharpsite.org and you can get the link through to the GitHub. You can create pull requests. You can open issues. You can take a look at all the code that we've written. And all the code that we've written has been done on stream. So you can go back to old YouTube streams and see what we've done here. All right. Now, let me create a project command here in chat so that folks on Twitch can see what we're doing. Let me see. So, startup experience for SharpSite and sharpsite.org. There we go. And we'll pin that. There we go. So our friends on Twitch now have a pinned message. If you're watching on YouTube, maybe you're watching the recording, there's links to SharpSite in the description just below. All right. Let's dig in here, shall we? It's been a while since I've looked at this because we've had all kinds of things going on. And it's been interesting, you know? Like, things. I was working on the idea of a default theme, huh? Hang on. I have a git status button. Ah, look at that. So, the language picker in the nav menu, huh? Let's take a look. I like the way VS Code visualizes the changes here. Let's take a look. And I know we were doing some things around we were doing some things around oh, there's that error again. Getting the playwright tests. So what do I have here? If always. Get current tag. Get most recent tag. You know what? I think I wanted... Show me this side by side. Where's the... Is it this one? No. Because I think I want... I think I wanted most recent. But up here, I do want these. What did I change in this? Sure, I guess. Nav menu. Okay. Those are all in the translator. That's fine. Committed from last work in progress. Which is a terrible thing to write, but hey. Yep, go ahead, restart the extensions. Ta-da. Alright. Push those changes. Let's jump over to the 0.7. Is it though? Okay, it is. No plugins. Yeah. And I'm just going to set up my branch up there. You know what? Let's work in VS Code today. Why not? Why not? Let's work in VS Code. How the heck did I splash coffee? My goodness. So let's go back to this description. So when you start a new version of the website, there are no plugins installed. There won't be a plugins folder. So it doesn't have the file storage capabilities. This is the idea of we need to distribute some default plugins to get things started. You like my VS Code theme? Right, I thought it was... What? Hey there, Lazy Dev 666. How you doing? Right? Yeah, that's what I get for not placing my hand. This is the cyberpunk theme that I'm using. So, where was I now? So on disk right now, what did I modify already? What? Go away. So I want to go into source. Right, it's like SharpSite web. There it is. There it is, plugins, right? No. Thank you. So we need a F1. F1? No way. When did that happen? When did that happen? I've always done, right, Control Alt P. Well, you learned something new. So the plugins folder is where we're going to store state and some of these other things. But the file system plugin should probably be distributed with this. Since always, no. The file system plugin should probably be distributed with this. Yeah. So at startup, there's a check to add startup config middleware. And it checks to see if startup completed. The app state, if that doesn't exist, right? Where is it? Add plugin manager and app state. Creates a new application state, adds it. I think we might need to get down into here. And there's where it starts to load the various services. Where else are we loading that? That's the only place that we load it, huh? No. It's got to be getting it from somewhere, right? Get application state file contents. Yeah, there it is. So it loads it and initializes it, and we do this monkey patching here. So we're not deserializing and just slamming it in there. Okay. So when you start new, at what point is it looking for the file system? Hey, Billy Cool with a big wave. Hello. In step 2, it's looking for file storage. Okay. So the quick and dirty answer for me is we need to package, have a dist folder with some of these default plugins that we're going to ship with it, right? File system being the first of them. Okay. So if I'm going to put together a list of plugins that I want to be distributed and to be available on disk, let's just add a folder and put those plugin files in there, right? Like file system plugin is there as a whole directory. Right, I think it's under uploaded. Yeah, there it is. And the file system plugin is only 6K, so load it up there. That's fine. All right, so let's go back over here and let's add a folder. Add folder. Do I call it dist? Default plugins? Sure. My last changes were weeks ago. That's right, they were. You're right. So I'm going to copy that plugin over. Okay. Plugins uploaded. SharpSite file system. And we're going to put that into no. I thought I just created that folder. Default plugins. There we go. Right, so that's now there. So I want that to be copied out as content. So actually, if we go to Solution Explorer, we should be able to right-click and just do that. Right? Oh, you don't have the properties deal here. Fine. Give it back into the CS proj file. Item groups, item groups. Yeah, here we go. I don't want to remove. And it's content. Right? No. No, it is default plugins. Man, you couldn't be more wrong. And you are out of control here. Yeah, copy to output directory. Dude. Like, stop. It's not an embedded resource. I've already included it as content. I don't. Okay. That should, of course, build, right? We should see it copied out. Show me what that folder looks like. Yeah, there we go. Default plugins. There it is. Good. All right. Next. If you're in startup, turn on that directly. Autocomplete needs coffee. Totally. You've been using the free plan of Copilot Daily and love it. It's awesome in helping find bugs. Yeah. There are absolutely times where Copilot is extremely helpful. There are other times where it gets a little bit rambunctious and does way too much stuff. Way too much stuff. And it's like, chill. Chill. And that was one of them you just saw. All right. So when I am in startup, right? I probably want to install this. Because as of right now, we don't have a way to select other plugins at startup yet. As we build out more of these, we'll give a screen that lets you choose, okay, where do you want your files stored? And you'll be able to choose Azure Storage, S3, so on and so forth. But for right now, let's just store it locally with files. So specify the website name, save and continue. And in order to get into the next page, it needs to have that plugin available. So let's go back to the startup middleware. Is that here? Okay. So it's redirecting to step 1.
Squirrel!
What? No. No. That's not what that is doing. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's it. Like, there you go. If the application is started, skip the window wherever it is. That was a nice little bit of doc that it dropped in there. Then I don't need to do this check. Sure. Then I don't need to do these because I know it's not null. Okay. Oh my gosh, look who's here. Good morning. Look, Mom's here, friends. It's Mom. How you doing, Mom? Mom? Indulge me here for a minute, friends. I got a new hat. What do you think? Now, let's see if Mom gets the reference. Right? Look, I know, I'm a terrible son. I'm testing my mother's knowledge here. Let's see. Let's see if Mom runs the hat command. Don't chat. Don't you do it. Let's see if Mom runs the hat command. McNets ran it. There you go. Do I use Visual Studio more or VS Code? I use Visual Studio more typically. I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code more in the weeks and months ahead. Just because I want to get more balanced between the two. Yeah, thank you, Weird Beard Dev. So, yeah, right. We need, right. We need Mom's sound effect.
Hey, Mom, can we get some meatloaf? We want it now. The meatloaf.
Meatloaf.
What's she doing? I never know what she's doing.
Yeah. Welcome to the grid. Absolutely. We need that command to play the Meatloaf clip. Honestly, I'm looking at giving more sound effect control to chat. Lots more sound effect control to chat. So that's going to be coming soon. Didn't know the reference, but there you go, Mom. It's a reference to Tron and the arcade that that Flynn has at the right. He owns an arcade and he's the lead developer at NCOM, or he was kicked out of NCOM. Yeah. And then in the second movie, right, he's like the ex-CEO, because at the end of the first movie, he ends up coming back and taking over. And he disappears in between the first and second movie, but he's like the estranged CEO. Yeah. And we'll see what happens with the third movie when that comes out. So that's exciting. Ooh, that's exciting. All right, let me head back over to the code here. So, yeah. Right. Hey Mars, how you doing? So I do this redirect for first start when I know that it's your first time coming in. App hasn't been built yet, and you're requesting something that isn't one of the static files. You're not requesting the Blazor stuff, and you're not currently requesting something in the start page. We're going to shoot you over there. It's Tuesday, which is better than a Monday. You're not wrong. Unless, of course, you took Monday off. Then things are a little bit different. So, I don't recognize that icon. Raging Wolf Helm. I don't. What's that for? Look at this. Mom's greeting everybody. Look at my mom's holding court in chat. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. All right. I feel like for now, at the end of step 1, maybe we install the default plugins. Right? Install default plugins. Ooh. Right, maybe we take the plugin manager and tell it, go install default plugins. That'd be cool. Right? That'd be cool and easy to kind of justify and work with, right? Man, this is... Yeah. I can just request the plugin manager, can't I? Let's inject the plugin manager. Where the heck did that come from? Is it iPlugin Manager? Is that a thing? I don't think it is. Or all right, fine. That using feels like it should be in like in imports. Right? It feels like it should always just be available. Okay, so now I have the plugin manager. So it'd be really cool if we could just down here say, for right now, plugin manager, install default plugins. Right? Like, no, don't fix it using Copilot. Just do the thing. You make me sad. I plugin manager. Really? Thank you. Right. Install default plugins. Yeah. There we go. And you created a whole bunch of other garbage here that I'm not particularly fond of. So, yeah, that's fine. All right, moving on. Yes, now we can create that piece. Dun, 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 dun. Right? Don't tell me it put it. It did. It put it way down here at the bottom. Punk. So now I'll just loop through what's in the default plugins folder and just call install on all of them. And away we go. Does mom code? No. So, John over on YouTube asking, does mom code? No. Here's the thing. My mother is a well-deserved retired school teacher, teaching many different grades throughout a pre-high school, and my father was the technical one between my two parents, and sitting around the kitchen table, I learned tech talking to my dad. Learned all kinds of things that were going on, and my father was a tremendous influence in the technical side of my career. However, my mother was not technical, is not technical. And that's okay, because what she taught me is how to help the non-technical folks and give those instructions, and how to teach, and how to speak and explain things so that more folks understand it. So it's an interesting mashup of my two parents' careers that I've landed on. So, how you doing there, Codebase Alpha? I don't have Charlie running today. So, that's right. Gave me the soft skills. Hey, bald bearded builder. Yes, that's I did run into Beth. That's right. How you doing there? Oh, thank you, Ocular Malice. That's very kind of you. Yeah. And look, all right. So the default plugins. I just want to loop through the default plugins folder and find those and call install plugin. Right? Like I have. Where is it? Install plugin. Come on. Not validate. No. Extract and install plugin. I think that's it, right? Right? Where did I put it? Handle uploaded plugin. It's not really uploaded. I don't. Where's that called? On save plugin. I have a feeling this plugin manager could be simplified significantly. Reading the manifests. Is that where I need to do it? I don't want to do it there. That might be where I need to come in if I want to reuse what's already here without having to go and rebuild things. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's going to be the easy way to do this. Okay. So let me go to the plugin install page. No, that's the plugin config. Add plugin. There it is. All right. So it calls validate plugin on the uploaded file name. Opens the read stream, loads from stream, and then away it goes. and then call save. So we don't need to validate, but we probably need these 3 bits. Okay. And it's not really a loaded file. We're just going to go through the list of things that are in our default plugins folder. Skill you always have is being able to communicate with the non-technical. It made you a good IT manager. Totally. I get it. I totally get it. Hey, D-Train. We are addressing an issue during the startup of SharpSite, and you can see a link to it there at the top of chat, where there's a set of default plugins that we've developed that need to be included and distributed when you first start up the application. So we're going to add an ability here to activate those default plugins. There we go. That's a little bit better zoomed in, so you can see what's going on here. So what I should do, let's call this default plugin folder. Not quite. Yeah. There's no underscore there, friend. I don't. It's right there. No, you know what I should do? I should get the folder, right? Right, new directory info. No. Man, I don't know why you keep wanting to put an underscore in there. If it does not exist, sure. I guess. Should probably make this async. In which case, we're just going to return. Really? Seriously? You're not going to let me... It's like sticky clicking. Yes, that's right. There we go. Give me one of these. Sure. That's pretty good. Okay. Open read stream is hanging off of, I forget what. Oh, that's the browser file. We don't have that because this is just a file. So we can get rid of that. And we can turn this into open read. There you go. There you go. What that's a file info. I don't need that. Yeah, file.name. Okay. I don't need to call it like that because I am the plugin manager. And then I should be able to say, right? And after we call save plugin, doesn't that... Clean up the currently uploaded plugin. Yeah, so we should be good there. All right. I think that's what we want. How's it going there, Frank? All right. How are we doing on time? Plenty of time. That. And I added that there. We should probably have some sort of a logger that's running in there, you know what I mean? Doesn't the plugin manager come with a logger? It does. So yeah, there we go. No, that should be a 0. I think that's what we wanted. Get rid of that extra line. Let's give it a shot. Where are we here? So let's move the plugins folder to somewhere else. There we go. And into app host and .NET watches John. I am not going to pressure my friend, the bald bearded builder, any further on that. Here we go. And there's the .NET Aspire dashboard. Good. Web front end is starting. Now there is no application startup yet. Application state yet. So it should. It's waiting for the migration service to complete. What are you doing over here? And we should get these startup screens. Okay. Not even as a channel point redeem? No. Okay, so plugin manager isn't registered yet. Why not? What? It's getting just the straight plugin manager, not the plugin manager. So let's try it that way. Yeah, I know. I told you to restart. That was what that Control R was. Step 1, 49. I'm missing an await. That's inside of something that should be an async task. Go ahead, build, restart. Let's go. And then we can move on and do the things and close out this issue. There we go. Cool stuff with Fritz. All right. Hit the same error. Why didn't it install? Right, it should have installed the thing. Plugin file system plugin saved and registered. So there's the old. Here's the new plugins folder uploaded, root. The manifest, the DLL, application state, file system storage, there it is. Come here. Format that, John. And the thing is, if I restart the website now, it's probably going to pick it up and run. Wrong browser. That one. And what's going on? Plugin already installed. So it errored out there. Not terrible. You go away over there. So let's do a check on this. Yep. No, I don't want to reach into app state. I should be able to. Doesn't that return you? That doesn't return the manifest. All right, I need to get my manifest for the plugin. Oh, man. And I need to... No. Yeah, after it... Oh, boy. I can reference it directly. Fantastic. No. It's right there. So I should have access to it. No, it's not null. Because I just loaded it here. Oh, no, I didn't. That should be this one. No, I didn't tell it to crack it yet. I need to call handle uploaded plugin first. And then this will is what's throwing the error. Oops. Oops. All right. Then let's just let it ride. And we'll move you down here and put a try catch on this. Yeah, right? And it's a plugin exception. So we'll catch a plugin exception. Good enough. Sure, we'll do a finally there. Now, restart. You love the hat? Thank you, Sean. All right. Let's see what we get. So, I'm not thrilled with this. All right. Cool stuff with Fritz. And it still can't find it. Plugin is already installed. I didn't rethrow it. Right, I swallowed the error there. Plugin manager line 53. Line 53. In the middle of handle uploaded plugin, which is in my try block here. So I'm getting that error logged. On 428. There, yeah. Which hits on 53, which comes into 446, which is in a try block. Okay. So it logs that exception right there. Fine. And then it's telling me, can I provide file storage? Gets the plugin assembly and then registers with service locator. When we add plugin, right? We call save. Yeah. Adds the assembly and then calls app state save. And am I making a stupid mistake here? Of course I am. They're all stupid mistakes. There it is right there. Okay. We've created a secondary... I remember this now. The plugin manager has a secondary service locator. We can't inject iHandle file storage directly into step 2. We need to get that with the plugin manager. Right? And as we initialize here, Get plugin provided service. Yeah. And it's I handle file storage. Let's do a null check on that. Throw a new exception. Because we shouldn't get to this point at all. There we go. Not a mistake, a happy accident. I know I can be a little hard on myself at times, but hey, I'm going to get better. Right? I'm going to get to be a better developer too. All right. I'm also noticing it's not remembering stuff that's already been saved. So there we go. So we made it into step 2. Let's nuke it and try again. So there's my default plugins. Here's the plugins folder. Where's delete? There it is, delete. Restart the whole shebang. Okay. So, brand new website. Cool stuff with Fritz. Made it to step 2. It should be finish. Okay, that's not going anywhere. What do we got in the logs? Missing file. So maybe we want to put a skip and next button there for right now. That's on step 2. Yeah, it's trying to add a file and that file doesn't exist. Click the finish button to continue. What? If you don't want to upload a logo, just click the finish button. Just click the skip and finish. So we'll add a second button. See if it remembers. No, let's just call this skip and finish. Let's see. That looks like a pretty good. Just calling startup completed, startup step 0, save the state, navigate to the home page. Sounds pretty good. There's our plugins folder. Delete that. Restart, give this another try. And then I think we'll have a reasonable startup sequence. For, right, when you start and you have nothing. Now, applying the migrations and setting up the database, that's something we need to figure out how to plug in here as well. Cool stuff with Fritz. There we go. These should be side by side. Side by side. Where's the chat, John? Is that the one I want? No. You. Oh, you're gonna put it over here, are you? Go away. That's not what I wanted to grab. No. Place these two buttons horizontally next to each other and centered below the paragraph above it. Give me some HTML for that, John. I don't want to think about it. ASDF 90999. Welcome. Thanks so much. Appreciate you joining us. Yeah, that looks about right. Sure. Right. Save that, smash. There we go. Looks good. Skip and finish. And I'm in. Fantastic. We still need to do the database setup bits. Man, I missed that. That feels like a big swing and a miss. Let's add the default plugins folder. I don't need the update to iRun at startup. I don't need that. You think? No. Go ahead. Restart that. Make sure it works. I think we got this. Come on now. There it is. We're good. We updated step 1 and step 2. We updated plugin manager, the CS proj file because we're including the default plugins. So I think that's everything we want. Now loading default plugins on install. Yeah. Now, I still need to figure out the database bit, right? Let's mark that as a secondary, as a second pass here, because that does address this 331. And we're gonna put that into, yeah, that's the right repository, 07. Yeah, there we go. Can we edit this? Can we add some Copilot John in there? So it includes some more of that stuff. I love being able to just hit that describe what happened in here button, and it gives me all the stuff. But I like just this summary message here. Focusing on improving startup process and plugin management. Key changes include adding a new plugin manager service, updating startup steps, and enhancing the plugin installation process. No, take the whole thing on that. Because that's a big deal. We'll let the actions run. We should be able to see. This should run properly. Yep. So the unit tests all ran properly. How about up here? Playwright tests. Setting up Playwright, and it'll run the test. This should still work, because we didn't change anything on that side. On the already running side, all those things should work properly. So it is good that I'm running these tests so we can get that validation. Here we go. Yeah. I feel like there it's installing Chromium, FFmpeg, and Playwright. Okay. I wanted to make sure it wasn't installing all the other browsers also. Because when Playwright will ship with installs for Chromium, for Firefox, and for Safari. So we can run tests with those types of websites, those types of browsers. So being able to, for the purposes of my regular tests here, just shut off and say, just run in Chromium is fine. I think we're going to get to a point where we're going to want to test with all the different browsers and do that type of matrix interaction. But we're not there yet. There we go. All 9 tests passed from the Playwright tests. So it's a good sanity check in just 2.5 minutes. So I'll take it.
And then...
No and then. No and then. Delete that branch. Thank you. So the other side of this that I feel like is a big miss. Hang on.
Oh my.
Stop the site. Jump over here. Fix no plugins. Get rid of that. Get the update. Good. Scaffold database. When we're starting up, we need to scaffold the database. Because you're going to point to a database location, a database server that doesn't exist. So I think we need to do that as part of a startup experience, right? not terrible. Yeah. Let's go back over here. Turn off the Copilot, John. Now, what did you do here? What are you doing here? I accepted that. I clicked and accepted. Go away. I don't know what it did. No, and that's going to error out. Nice. Close all those things. So, as of right now, we only have Postgres configuration. Eventually, we're going to open that up so that you can choose various database providers, so you can run with SQLite or Postgres or MySQL or SQL Server or Oracle or DB2 or MongoDB or Cosmos DB. You're going to be able to take your choice from a ton of different database providers. And we've been kind of kicking the can down the road on building that configuration. Or you want to use Excel. It is my firm belief, speaking of Excel, it is my firm belief, let me squirrel for a second here.
Squirrel.
It is my firm belief that so many businesses and finance people rely on Excel that business software isn't real to them, or business hardware for that matter, unless they can do their thing with Excel. Because that's just the Swiss Army knife business tool that does all the things and makes numbers, financial numbers, flow. People build schedules in Excel. People build list of contacts in Excel. People do all of their budgeting in Excel. Now that folks can use Excel inside of their VR headsets, because you can connect from, right? You can connect from the Meta Quest headset over to your Windows 11 desktop and put Excel up inside of it and make your Excel spreadsheets as big as you want. It's now a valid business device. I did stuff with VBA back in the day also, yes. Let me catch up with chat here. Excel has been bald-bearded builder's tool of choice ever since Kelly Rowland taught you how to text people with Excel on your phone. Facts. Yes, with your Sidekick phone. Yes. Kinslayer says Excel is the best database. Frank did so much stuff with VBA back in the day. Yeah, VBA is where I got my first business computing. I worked for when I graduated college, I worked for a financial company, SEI Investments. They brought me in as a temp while I was waiting for my first software job to start. I was going to be starting as a consultant in like June, but I had 3-4 weeks in May where I graduated. I was back from vacation, and I wanted to just get some work done, get some money in my pockets before I started at my real job. So I'm working as a temp at SEI Investments. And they had a bunch of Excel sheets. They're like, we need you to format this data from over here and put it over there in this other format. And they were expecting me to like do it all by hand. And I wrote macros with VBA and automated all of their spreadsheets. They didn't know what was hitting them. You're quite interested in how Excel communicates with SharePoint. When you open the document locally, Excel seems to establish a connection and automatically sync changes. Yes, it'd be really nice if you could do this with an ASP.NET service. You can absolutely do that, and you're seeing SharePoint as a plugin in Excel that reaches out to another service to download and synchronize content. Yes, if you wanted to do that with data in ASP.NET, sure, connect out to wherever that database is. If you want to use Excel, sure, reach into someone's OneDrive or into storage somewhere and grab that data and sync it. Yeah, you can do that. It's not hard to read Excel files. There's all kinds of NuGet packages out there that will help you read and write Excel files. The folks at Iron Software have sponsored streams in the past. They make a tool that allows you to do that. The folks at Progress Software, they've provided tools for our streams in the past. They have tools that allow you to read and write Excel sheets as well. So, Paulus asks me, did I write some posts somewhere for devs starting out to learn C# and .NET? You come from a scripting background and have previously worked with Ruby, looking to learn .NET to build some projects, but have no idea where to start. I started a series called C# in the Cards that's based on my C# with C# Fritz video series that were run on the .NET YouTube channel. I stopped on C# in the Cards because the viewership, the readership was very low, and the amount of work that I was putting in to get 200 views was not worth it at that time. I've got many other projects that have a higher upside for me that I need to focus on. So I would take a look at the .NET channel, go to .NET, and there's learn resources there, tutorials and things that'll get you started. Excel and Access business apps make you cringe. You made a good bit of money fixing folks who created that mess. So I understand that it makes you cringe, and I completely see where you're coming from on that. The flip side of it is, though, it's what it does is it enables the citizen developer to get started and get some little bit of help automating things for themselves before bringing in developers to start scaling things, right? If you're just a little startup and you know how to crochet woobles, right? Woobles, things like this, right? That's a cow my daughter made. Anyways, you don't know anything about building software, but you need to keep data somewhere about what your orders that are coming in, your orders that are coming out, your inventory and whatnot. It's easy for them to do it in Excel. Eventually, they need to start scaling. But when it's just them, that's easy enough to get started with. So, and I'm not going to knock anybody that is starting their own little business and scaling there. But for folks that are in deep, yeah, forget it. If you've already got an established enterprise, I'm just double checking what that thing was. Yeah, we're good. Getting things tied up in Excel and Access can be a bit of a mess. So, VBA was your first programming language? Visual Basic on the Commodore 64 for me. You knew a guy who was trying to make scripts for CNC machine using Excel? Oh my gosh. Worked regularly with Excel and VBA, early dev, until 6 years ago. Wow. He even wrote debugging values to a sheet? Yeah. Excel file is just a connection to a data source to the SharePoint list. That's another way to get it as well. Yes. You've used Excel to write test code for case management systems. I've seen folks do that as well. Use Excel to generate the test data to load into test systems. What if you wanted to download a spreadsheet from your own web app? Open it, opens it in Excel, it'll automatically sync with your web app. And automatically update your database based on changes. Your Excel sheet that you're working with, you're going to want to embed a query that works with the same database your website is working with. or to get data from an API that the website exposes. Without Excel, that business would never exist. Totally. Bulk edit products in a spreadsheet and it would automatically update their products on the web app. Just build the web UI. Used to automate Word before VBA was a thing. Word script, yeah. You got Excel to write the code that you pasted in. Oh boy. Yes, ad breaks happen. All right. Moving on. Okay. All right. I need to run the database migration scripts for wherever that database is. Yeah, so, right, folks who have the Twitch subscription or have Twitch Turbo, we're able to see. Yeah, write the web UI. Write the web UI. Like, why use Excel as user interface when you have a website? When you try to force the Excel as web user interface, you're now cutting off folks who don't have Excel, don't have the ability to get Excel. So folks on tablets, phones, they can't interact with your app if the only way to do that type of interaction is with an Excel spreadsheet. Like, need to be careful with that. So, all right. Moving on. I've got about an hour left here. So let's talk about where I was thinking, where I was going with this. You're welcome, Zeb. What I have here is I want to be able to take the database server name and the database. Yeah, I need the database server name, user ID, and password. Go build that connection string and use that. However, because we're working with .NET Aspire, it's being passed into us. Okay. So, which also then means we need to create that default user too. You really need a Docker Compose output for Aspire. Having a JSON manifest is kind of useless. Yes and no. JSON manifest is kind of useless without another tool that knows how to parse and turn that into something else. AZD knows how to parse and turn it into something else. Aspirate knows how to parse and turn it into something else. No, you're missing the point. If the Microsoft folks built a tool, if the Microsoft folks integrated directly within Aspire the ability to deploy, they would directly integrate Azure, because that's where their business priority is, and they would stop there and say, okay, generate, publish, done. And the Microsoft business folks would be happy with that. The open source community, the .NET community, would not be happy with that, and would absolutely tear into the .NET team. Oh my gosh, no, we can't. We need the ability to do other things. We aren't all on Azure. Blah 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 blah. And they're right. They're absolutely right. So the Aspire team drew a line and said, we're going to build up to this point and bolt on tools that will allow you to publish to different locations. Amazon has built their CDK. The Aspirate folks have built their tools. So it's another set of tools on there. Now, the Amazon folks have pulled it so close so that it generates the stuff at build time, right? It's inside. It's inside App Host. You can take a look at the source code and see where the team is going with regards to things like publishers and the Aspire command line tool. So there's absolutely directions to go with this, but the team wants to make sure that it is clear that it's an extension point. And in the initial releases of .NET Aspire with .NET 8 and .NET 9 and so forth, the current versions of .NET Aspire have a hard end at the build process that generates the manifest JSON that comes from your .NET Aspire configuration. And there's another tool there. There are steps that are being done, and you can see them in the source code, and I'm not going to talk about them yet because they're not released yet. But there are steps in the source code for .NET Aspire that introduce the concepts of publishers. You can take a look and see what's coming in the future. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about it yet. But as we get closer to those features being available, we're talking 9.2, 9.3, we'll talk more about them. But it's your concerns have been heard loud and clear. The team's addressing them, but they're also making sure it is an extensible endpoint so that Amazon can extend it, Google can extend it, so on and so forth. I defy you to talk to folks at Google and ask them where the Dart and Go publishing tools are for Azure. See what they say. See what they say. Go to Amazon. Ask them where their tools to publish and integrate with Azure are. Because here's the thing. The .NET community likes to beat up on the Microsoft .NET team when tools aren't available for their other cloud tools and services. So the .NET team goes to great ends to make sure that they're cloud neutral, even though the primary service that they're going to deliver the best experience for is, what the heck? Did we get a raid or something here? The best experience is over on Azure, right? Did something happen here? I'm seeing a viewer number that just took off like crazy here. Stand by. That can't be right. What happened there? No, it doesn't look like it. I just navigated to the channel, and that number doesn't look like it's appearing there on the channel. Yeah, I think it might be a bot attack. It says 80. So right now on my gauge, it's showing 1,054 viewers. Finally, some real ad revenue. Let's run an advertisement while we've got 1,000 people here. Bots are made for walking. Friends, if you're some of these 1,000 folks that just dropped in here, yeah, it's showing 1,000 viewers. I did not do anything to manipulate that. Run an advert. I'm going to run a 60-second ad here, and I will be right back, friends, all right? And if you are one of our subscribers, hey, thank you for sticking around. I'm going to try and take advantage of what looks like 1,000 folks. It looks like 1,000 folks joined, but I think it's somebody's view botting us and attacking. Time to make the money. Absolutely. Like, let's give that a shot. 1,200 viewers. I do not mind having thousands of folks watching. The ads are running. Don't know. It's worth a test. Let's see what happens. So, 15 seconds, we'll come back. I don't think it's truly 1,000. 1,500 viewers. If I had seen additional folks pop up in chat, I'd appreciate it. But this does look like a bot attack. So, time for a reset. Thank you. Thank you, Zeb. Very much appreciate that.
Just resubscribed for 18 months. Time for a reset.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Not a bot? Well, fantastic, Fovid. And we had seen you here earlier, so I kind of expected. No, and I didn't get featured on the homepage either. I peeked over at that as well. That's okay. So, 300 just dropped off. Yeah, somebody's view botting. No, I'm not on the front page. Go ahead, take a look at the hat. There we go. So, we're going to update the startup experience here so that you can set up and a database at startup. But what's weird about this is that we're working with .NET Aspire. YouTube is quiet, nice and quiet with 12 watching. That's quite all right, Soft is in software. I very much appreciate you hanging out over there and tuning in and enjoying the stream. But yeah, the numbers over here on Twitch just took off. Yeah, now down to 900. So, is Charlie being conscious for the first time? No. Like, I can't even see the user list. No, not words. No. Like, we used to be able to see the list of users. And I don't see it. Yeah, 961. You're from Earth. Fantastic. Charlie's not running. So, all right, thinking through, how are we going to scaffold? How are we going to stand up this first database? Yeah. Twitch tells me that I'm supposed, like, their safety team says that if you see a weird spike in chat like that, yeah, 1,300 viewers. Yeah, there's not that many. You're supposed to stop your stream. I'm not going to stop my stream. I'm in the middle of doing something. You figure it out. It's your problem, not mine. Like, I'm doing a thing here. Like, if you're getting attacked, that's not my problem. That's your problem. Yeah, 1,300 viewers. And if I take a look at my analytics, I'm almost positive it's not going to show me. Yeah. Well, max viewers, 1,249. And that's probably going to go up. They're seeing it as viewers. Yeah. I'm wondering, something else that I've seen folks do is they'll embed there are folks that will embed a Twitch viewer in various websites. I'm wondering if we got embedded somewhere. So up over 1,500. It's Twitch's April Fool. Yeah, I'm the fool. You know, like, let me put a quick shout out to some friends here. Let's throw a shout out to wrong button. And over to the PH16 folks. There we go. All right. Anyways. So this is going to start as I start to think. Yeah, it is going up and down. Which tells me that there's an embed somewhere. Someone's embedded the stream somewhere. I didn't do it. You've seen me. I'm here live. Yeah, I don't know. All right. This is going to get us stepping down towards the database as plugin architecture that we've been wanting to do. And I think that's okay. I think that's very much okay. You welcomed our new bot overlords. Oh man. So application state, format this. Where'd it go? Format document. This is saved on disk right now. And if I were to put a user ID and password in here to get into the database, I feel like that's not a good security practice. You know? I feel like we're opening it up for a problem. It would be a bad idea to do that, right? Where should I do that instead? No, because if it was in app settings JSONs, it would still be sitting there on disk. It's a bad practice. But doesn't WordPress write it into a file also? Yeah. So maybe it's not as bad as I'm thinking. So let's run with that. You're here for the COBOL dev stream. Joystick Nick, thank you. Really appreciate that. How you doing there, friend? You like the hat? Look at that. Look at that. Huh? How's that for a reference? All right, back over here. Yes, it turns out that most of the U.S. government is built in running on COBOL since the 1970s. And it turns out 50-year-old software is pretty stable and has literally millions of bug fixes in it. And some arrogant jerk who runs Tesla thinks he's going to rewrite it in a couple months. Are you kidding me? Good luck. Good luck. You want to bet your business on it? Because it turns out you did bet your business on it. People don't like you for that. Good luck. Machine code directly? No. No. I'm pretty sure somebody embedded the channel somewhere. Angry Jeff? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ryan McFarlane? Who's Ryan McFarlane? So, all right, so if I turn this around, we start up with a database connection string that we inject. Yeah. It's like something's weird there. You wrote a lot of your early code for CP Rail in COBOL? Okay. Fake genius who's throwing ADL approved. That's right. That's right. Amazing how he went from Silicon Valley darling to scourge of the senior citizen class, and many other non-MAGA folks in the United States in the course of 2 months. Like, COBOL version you used to code? Okay. It's actually an RGB LED stream. No. No. So if I'm going to inject a configuration page here, see, look at this. Fritz pivots right back to the code that we were working on. Right back. It's in my startup configuration, so we had step 2, and it decides, hey, we're done here. This is after we do upload a logo, so if we're going to do database configuration, we probably want that, I guess, as step 3, right? Right, that's probably a thing here. Step 3 dot resor, right? So great to see you, fellas. How you doing there? Quantum Fritz wins. Well, I'll have Quantum. We'll both have Quantum Fritz and won't have it running at the same time. Maritea, I'm not going to allow that. We do try to keep things safe for work here. So I'm going to deny that. Debureaucratized NASA. NASA was already trying to privatize from the early 2000s. Yeah, Schrodinger's Fritz. That's right. Right? I'm both an up quark and a down quark at the same time. Right? And all the qubits. So let's go start setting up step 3. I don't think, do we need that using statement? I don't think we do. Oh, I do, because I'm getting that over there. There we go. The viewership has slid back down here. Here we go. Red and blue for the background, green for the foreground. What do I want? Quantum Fritz. No, I'm not doing any quantum programming. The joys of macOS, Docker, and ARM. Yes. That's something that I worry about also. Work it with, and why you don't see me working on ARM a lot. Okay. Yep. So instead of finish, this is really going to be next step. So can we just rename that? Can we just rename that, John? And instead of, oh boy. Thanks, VS Code. What don't you like? Everything. All right. We're just gonna call this skip. Right, and go delete all those things. Okay. Yeah, see, it didn't update that. Right? And now it's like, yeah, reload window. Ba-ba-ba. There we go. And this isn't going to be skip and finish, and it's going to be... Right, just skip and go to step 1. If step is not 2, then go to that other step. Yeah. Startup is not completed. How did I do step 1? I just said startup step equals 2. And then navigate to that. All right. Fine. So we're going to say not completed. Step is going to 3. Here's the logo that was uploaded. Save. And navigate to, yeah, start step. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Why don't you like that? No. Sometimes it's like it does the autocomplete stuff and just goes kind of crazy. Do I use SourceGraph in my work? No. Yeah, the bots got bored and left, but we're still out at 129. Like, I'm still up 50 from where we were on viewership. And I don't normally peek at viewership that often, but we had just come out of an ad, and I looked over and was like, that number can't be right. All right, so I'm going to get rid of you. Change this to this. There is no save to be done. And we're going to replace with this, John. Oh, I didn't save. Thank you. And once again, now I'm in the weird parsing Blazor issue. You didn't know I was programming in Finnish? No. All right, I need the same. I feel like I should almost have a base page for these startup pages that does this same type of interaction here. It may not be usual, but that's what I deserve. Oh, that's very kind, Frank. That's very kind, but at the same time, right? So this is const int step equals 3. Right, so I can do this. If it's less, if that, app state, startup, step, yeah. Go to that other page. And actually, I can, but I can just do that. And I could refactor and turn this into a base page, but why? All variables and class names should be neutral and programmed in Swiss. No! It's harder to have a conversation at 1,000. Well, I would turn on slow mode. And I wouldn't address all the questions and comments in chat. Like, there'd be a certain number of them that would pass. And I would move... Right, that's when Charlie with the question queue would really kick in at that point. Like, go manage and do all those things. But, like, I've been able to handle 1,000 folks in chat for work items and for stuff. for stuff here occasionally. Like, it doesn't happen that often, but it happens. It does. So let's see what the analytics show me now. Is it still going to show me the... Yeah. Still showing me max viewers 1570. Hey, whatever. I'm okay with that. Oh, it is harder, definitely. Yeah. I need to handle this. Stupid emails. Okay, so on this page, I want to talk about database connection string, building the database connection string. So let's okay. Grab some of that to start, paste it in. This is, and let's just database storage for let's configure where the data for your website is going to be stored. Period. This is important because this is where all of our data, including your blog posts and page information, is going to be stored, secured, and retrieved from. Period. Control I to continue with Copilot? Really? What's that going to do? Sure. Okay. No, you can't change this later. You must set it now. You will set it now, and that will be the end of it. You're going to need that color scheme. This is the cyberpunk theme. Don't use connection strings. I have to. For now, I have to. Because we don't know where and how it's going to be used, so that you could use things like service principals. Setting up and running the service principals are something that's a little bit further down because we don't have our data, we don't have our collection of database providers, and we don't know where it's going to be running from. You're trying to run Olama on Synology NAS? No, you don't have the... tried it myself. Doesn't have the horsepower. It doesn't come close to having the horsepower to do it. So, earn that Twitch badge. Look, 1,500 viewers were here. At least that's what Twitch says. So, that's fine with me. That's a thing. I was trying to run Phi and it wouldn't run. It's just too big. It's too big, and the Synology doesn't have any serious horsepower. Trying to set up service principals from this web user interface is something that we should be able to do eventually. We're nowhere near that sophisticated yet. We'll get there, but we're not there yet. Currently web? No. We only support Postgres as a database. What else does it say here? Sure. No. Are you kidding? Why the heck? All right. So now let's do create a simple form to collect database name, database server name, user ID, and password. That's not a form. Let's try it with Copilot edits. I've been told the autocomplete is nowhere near as capable as Copilot edits. So let's give that a shot. Let's see what it does. Yeah. Server name, user ID, password, save, database config is just doing a write line at this point. That's fine. Let's see what we get here. Database server name, user ID, password, that's fine. I think this, we want to say finish. How you doing there, Immortal? Immortal Go? Hello, welcome. I could add some Copilot config files. You're right. Like stuff to tell it, hey, we're coding with Blazor here. You should be using so on and so forth. I want to make these input text and I want them to be required. It's update the form to use Blazor input components and add validation that ensures each field is required. See what it does. I've also been told that the GPT 4.0 is not as sophisticated as the Claude models. Input text with validation messages. Good. What do we got down here? Database config model with a required. Database server name is required. User ID is required. Password is required. I don't think we need the error messages. I think we can just mark things as required. And I'm going to need the data annotations. Thank you. Get rid of these. Because they're just the default messages. That's okay. So and on valid submit. So I'll put them together as a database connection string and write it out to the place. write it out to app settings. Vibe coding, no. No. So if I write it into app settings, I'm going to need to start fetching that to... There's two pieces of this. Because we also need the security database. Let's take a look for a second. What do we got? Where's the there's the context. Let's put these in two separate databases. Let's go to the end of this. SharpSite is going to create two database instances on your server, one that contains the data for the content served by SharpSite, and a second that contains the security information that SharpSite uses. Sure. This is a very important step, so please make sure. Yeah, okay. That should be like this. Like that. One of these. What? There we go. Right, and this is just simple to get it running. Eventually, we will update it and make it a lot more sophisticated so it does use better security models. But for right now, to get this running, connection string. Save it to disk. That's the way WordPress works. So, so if I save that into application state, if I save those connection strings over here somewhere, then where is it? It's adding those repositories. Somewhere it's doing add. There. Oh. It's right there. So what I probably want to do is be able to pass in application state. Can I do record config model? Probably. No, I can't because of the way it does data binding. The record is idempotent. We wouldn't be able to use it. I've tried to do that in the past, but it wouldn't do that. Yeah, the custom instructions for Copilot. Yep. There's a collection of custom instructions that I've found online that I want to use. Similar to namespace, if you only have one class inside a script, it uses that. What was at the top? We do have that. But, like, you can only have one file that doesn't have a class defined. Right? That's your top level statements. Nah, curly braces are not going away from... They're not going away from C#. I've seen some things that the language teams are working on, and why? No, I don't think you're going to see that happen. There are some other things the language teams are working on that are very interesting. And that's about all I can say about that. Where was I here? So I want to save the database config, and right, let me go find application state. Inherits from over here. Oh boy. Thinking. I've only got about 10 minutes here. Yeah. So union types are something that the team is working on sooner than later. Like, that's a thing that needs to, that folks really want first. Pardon me 1 second here. Yeah, we're good. You don't use curly braces for namespaces? Sure you do. But then, right, they introduced file scope namespace, right? There is such a thing as file scoped class. No, file scope members of a class. That's a thing. But you're looking for some magic that the compiler will generate. There are interesting things that the team is working on, and that's about all I can say on that. Some experiments that they're working on. So I think I want to put in here, instead of trying to push up some of these properties, I think I want to put like a generic get configuration by key. Sure, by name. Okay, sure. What don't you like about that? All right, let's make this virtual then, you turkey. No. Actually, I like that switch statement. What was good? Give me that switch statement. There you go. Do that. But public string, yes, we need that. This needs to be public override. Not bad. Why don't you like that? No, that'll never be. Chuck!
Chuck Beasley just resubscribed for 31 months.
Thank you so much. How you doing there, friend? Let's see here. That's never going to be null. That's not null. That's not null. No. That may be null. There you go. Okay. But I'm going to add those extra connection strings now. So let's do up in here. Public string. No. Content. Connection string. There we go. No. Public string security connection string. And I'm going to add those. Really? Yeah, like that and like that. There we go. So if those values are not empty, use the values. If values have been injected by Aspire, use those, otherwise use these. Do we even show this if it's been injected by Aspire? That's not bad. Right? So we can go and interpret and get the connection string name, and if that exists already being passed in inside configuration, skip the last step. Like, you're done. And then we need to pivot here, and if that connection string isn't present, go get it from app state. This is used in 3 places. Where? In the migration. It's in an interface over here. Do I use this interface at all? I don't think if I don't use this, don't. But I don't... It's just implementing that interface. I don't actually use it. So do I need it? Do we cut this? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this up. And get ready. I have a meeting at noon that I need to get to. So let's do some commits here. Go up a folder. SharpSite web components. What do we got? Those are good. Started injecting the ability to configure the database connection string. Yeah. All right. So it's out there. It's done. It's ready to go. Not ready to go, but it's ready for me to pick up and work with Thursday when we get back together. All right. It's been a pleasure writing code with you today. And looks like we had some sort of a rush of, it must have been a bot, view bot that was coming through. We didn't get any more followers off of that, but there was like 20 minutes, half an hour of like 1,500 viewers here. Cool, but nobody interacted, so it's like, So I think somebody embedded the channel on a webpage somewhere, and folks were driving by and finding us. So, whatever. Thank you so much for tuning in, for being a part of the stream. Let me see who else is streaming on the live Twitch TV network. If you're watching on YouTube, there's recordings of all of my streams for almost the last year that's available down here, over there, depending on which client you're using for YouTube. Let me see. Let's go to is she actually broadcasting? Is she coding? Is she doing that thing? Yeah, it looks like she's having fun over there. Let's go raid our friend Alicia Griffin. She hasn't been streaming in some time, and I'm sure she'll be so happy to see us. Thank you so much for joining. I'll be back on Thursday. We did a lot of really cool things, adding in some error handling and setting up some default plugin capabilities for SharpSite. As we go and create more plugins that we want to be delivered by default, we just have to put them in our default plugins folder, and they'll get installed automatically for us. That's pretty cool. We're going to get in and start doing the database migration and scaffolding stuff. Look at that. I've got to go. I've got a call. So thanks so much for being a part of the stream. I will see you on Thursday. But until then, I wish you good health and good coding. Take care.